Welcome to Elevate Your Ride, the podcast dedicated to elevating your performance in the saddle. I'm Ellie, your personal trainer.
And I'm Lauren, your mindset coach. Today, we are going to dive into why fitness is important for equestrian athletes. Ellie, what made you decide to specialize as a personal trainer for equestrians?
That's a great question. So, I've always loved horses, always loved working with horse people. I've always been really interested in coaching horse people. For a long time, I thought that meant, being a horse trainer, but I realized that I did not want to train horses and that I wanted to still find a way to work with equestrians while still being an amateur myself. So, I always kind of knew in the back of my mind that if horse training didn't work out, that I would get into personal training. I always loved fitness and I always knew that I wanted to lead a healthy lifestyle. And so being a personal trainer just made sense for me. And when I decided I wanted to get certified, I always knew that I wanted to work with equestrians. I've been in the horse industry for a long time. Horse people are my kind of people. That's the industry that I wanted to be in. So when I got certified as a personal trainer, I thought that I would work in a commercial gym for a while, and then I always knew I was going to start my own business. But then because of COVID and gyms were shut down, I actually never got the chance to work in a commercial gym. So I have only ever trained equestrians.
How does fitness for equestrians differ from general fitness?
It's a great question. So, as a personal trainer, you are taught how to take somebody through what's called the exercise continuum. And there's five main stages of that continuum. And the first stage is just, general flexibility. And then once they're flexible, you move into strength. And then once they're strong, you move into power exercises. And general equestrians, yes, I would say that I take them through that continuum, but I take them through it at a little bit of a different pace and with a little bit of a different goal in mind. So if you came to me and you weren't an equestrian and you just wanted to get stronger, I would train you differently than an equestrian who came to me and said, I want to get stronger, right? Because somebody who just wants to be stronger for their daily life, we're going to focus maybe a little bit less on muscular endurance and core stability. Because, yes, those things are important, but those are pillars for equestrians. Those are the number one things that I focus on. So I would say that it's similar, but it really just depends on your goals.
So, you pointed out that the core is extremely important for equestrians. What are the main areas that you focus on when working with an equestrian athlete?
So you can look at the core in a couple different ways. Equestrians need to have good core strength, yes, but what's even more important is good core stability. So, core stability is your body's ability to resist movement. And when you think about it, that's what you're asking your core to do when you are riding. You're asking your core, which is your entire torso, okay? It's your abs and your back, all of those muscles. You are asking those muscles to engage and to resist the movement of the horse. So, as the horse is moving left and right, your core needs to be able to stabilize you from falling left or falling right. As you pick up into a lope or a bouncy trot, your core needs to keep you stable from moving back and forth, right? Like, if you think about it, if you watch the people who are really good in the horsemanship versus the people who are maybe not quite as strong in the horsemanship, I would almost guarantee that if you look at the rider who is stronger in the horsemanship, it's because they are physically capable of resisting movement through their core very well. They're proficient at it. When you watch the horsemanship riders who are maybe a little bit wigglier, their shoulders don't stay straight over their hips, they're leaning forward, they're leaning back. It's probably because they don't have good core stability.
That makes a lot of sense. I've definitely noticed a difference by adding all the core exercises in that you have me do.
So, how you train for core stability is you have to mimic movements that are somewhat similar to riding, where your core is resisting movement. So, one of my favorite exercises is to do what's called an alternating knee raise. So, you stand up tall and you hold like a horsemanship position with your arms, and you alternate raising one knee off the ground. So, for example, you shift your weight into your right foot, you're balancing on your right foot and you slowly lift your left leg up. Okay. So you're bending your left knee, and your goal is to get your left knee to become level with your hip. Okay. And then you set it back down. If you focus on doing that movement slow and with control, you're going to increase your core stability because your core has to resist movement. It has to keep you from falling back, it has to keep you from falling forward. So you can
Mhm.
picture how that translates to riding a horse because think about when you have to lift up your horse, right? You have to lift your horse's belly up to your seat, or you might only have to lift your right leg, or you might only have to lift your left leg. You need to have control over your legs individually. And that's a great exercise for teaching that.
Absolutely. That one's definitely more difficult than it sounds.
When I have people do that exercise for the first time, I show it to them or I explain it and they look at me and they're like, well, I can do that no problem. And I'm like, yeah, you probably can if you do it quick and using your momentum. But if you slow down and focus on using your stability, using your balance, it's extremely challenging.
Absolutely, and then after we've been working together for a while, you'll throw in a balance pad or a Bosu ball.
That's the thing is once you get good at the exercise, you have to make it harder. You have to keep challenging yourself. So yeah, you can stand on an unstable surface like a balance pad or a Bosu ball, or you could hold a dumbbell in front of your chest, or you could hold a kettlebell over your head. There's a million ways to progress an exercise.
Absolutely. What other muscle groups do you like to focus on?
I really like to focus on the body as a whole. So that is something that is very important to me. If you come and you tell me that you need to work on strengthening your inner thighs, I'm not going to just strengthen your inner thighs. I'm going to strengthen your leg as a whole. So we're also going to strengthen the quads, the glutes, the hamstrings, the calves. I am not going to focus just on one area. We can focus on that area a little bit more, but you don't want to create muscle imbalances by only strengthening one section. So if you tell me you want to get stronger in your inner thighs, we're going to strengthen your entire legs, right? And then
Yes.
vice versa. If somebody comes and tells me they're like, "Man, like I really need to get a stronger back." We're also going to strengthen your chest. We're also going to strengthen your biceps because your body and your muscles all work together. And if one section is stronger than everything else, you're going to be unbalanced and that's going to cause you issues.
What are the most common issues you see when working with equestrians?
I see a lot of tightnesses. I see a lot of imbalances. I see a lot of weaknesses. Those I would say are the main components that I see. So, the main area that I see tightness in is the low back and the outer hip. So, think about it when you're riding the horsemanship, when you're riding the pleasure, you are driving the entire time. Our legs do not really get a break. So, you're asking your outer glute, which is like your glute medius, glute minimus, you're asking those muscles to be engaged and to keep you stable the entire time that you're riding. So it's really common for those muscles to get really, really tight. And so, because of that, a lot of my riders have limited mobility left to right in their hips, not necessarily forward to back, but those glute medius and minimus, they're responsible for opening your hips. So if that muscle is tight, you can imagine that it's going to be hard for you to open your hips. Does that term sound familiar? How often do you hear a trainer say, open your hips, right? So if that muscle is really tight, then it's going to be really hard for you to open up your hips. That's actually something that I struggle with personally. I have a really hard time sitting back and opening my hips at the same time because I have a tight low back and a tight glute medius, glute minimus area. So what I do for it is I work on what's called corrective exercise. So I do foam rolling, I do static stretching, and then I work on strengthening those areas as well. And that's how I correct that. So that's probably one of the main things that I see. I also see a lot of instability in the core. So I kind of just went over why the core stability is so important. And a lot of people will focus on core strength, but not core stability. So, typical core strengthening exercises are things like sit-ups or normal planks with no variations, crunches, bicycles, things like that. Those don't really work on stability. It's just working on strengthening the muscle. Core strength is important, but I personally think that core stability is more important. But when you're building core stability, you're also building core strength. So, focusing on the exercises where your body has to stabilize, that's the type of core exercises that you want to be doing. So, another area that I see people have weaknesses is in their posture. So, poor posture is typically characterized by tight chest muscles, tight trapezius muscles, and weak upper back muscles. So that's an imbalance. You have a muscle imbalance, right? Because you have some muscles that are tighter around an area than others. So, another really common thing is working with my riders to open up their chest muscles and their trap muscles and teaching them how to not engage those muscles, how to have better posture in their daily life. And that is huge. Hi, everyone. It's your personal trainer, Ellie. If you're looking to become a stronger, more balanced, and flexible rider, I'm here to help. I offer virtual personal training sessions and customized workout plans that you can complete on your own. As a fellow competitor, I understand the physical demands riding requires, and my goal is to help you perform your best for your horse, whether you're preparing for a show or just want to improve your everyday rides. Visit lopindowntherailfitness.com or click on my website tab in the notes of this podcast episode to learn more. Let's work together to elevate your ride.
Just hearing you say that made me sit up a little straighter, so good good point. That is one thing that I really enjoy about working with you is by being able to do it through FaceTime, you notice all those little things that when we're working out by ourselves, we kinda start to slack on, right? You're great at pointing out when I start losing a little bit of stability, if my knee wobbles a little bit. It's really nice to have that accountability of someone saying, "No, you can do that better." So, I really enjoy that when we work out together.
Having an accountability partner is so important, not just to make sure that you're doing your workouts, but to make sure that you're doing your workouts correctly. So, I mean, we've been working out together for like what, 2 years? A long time. And
Mhm.
you are very fit. You are one of my most, if not my most fit clients. And to hear you say that you still need me to help keep you accountable to your workouts, that should show everybody that you never really get to a point in your fitness where you don't need a coach anymore, right? It's the same with your
Absolutely.
riding. Like, how often do amateurs, all of a sudden get to a point in their riding where they don't need their trainer anymore? It happens, but it's much more common to stick with your trainer because you always need that accountability.
And plus it keeps things fun too, right? It's nice to be able to look forward to going to a workout session or look forward to going to a training session with your horse. So, make sure that if you do choose to work with a personal trainer, have it be someone that you enjoy. So, can you describe what a typical training session looks like when you work with your clients?
Yeah, so I mainly work with my clients virtually. So I live in Oregon and I have clients all over the country. So we're mainly doing FaceTime calls or some sort of video call. So I will create a workout ahead of time and then I will call the client at the time of our session. And first, I'll kind of check in and see how their week has been going. If they've gone and ridden their horse, we'll talk about their ride, little things like that. And then we'll dive right into the workouts. I like all my clients to come to the workout prepared, ready to go with their water. They've got their phone charged. We want the session to go as smoothly as possible. And I always want people working out with their muscles warm. So I have all my clients do at least a couple warm up exercises before I call them. So I have everybody go on at least a 5 or a 10 minute walk before I call them. Then a lot of my clients have muscle imbalances, so they foam roll every time before we work out. So they should have gotten their walk in and they should have gotten their foam rolling in before I call them. And some of my clients also have some stretches and some exercises they're supposed to do before I call them. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So if they
Guilty.
so if they haven't done their exercises that they're supposed to do before I call them, then we run through those really quickly. And then we'll move in through the workout. So most of the time I'm sitting watching the client, coaching them through their workout. If they need me to get up and show them the exercise, then I will. Sometimes I do also work out with my clients to give them a good visual, but I usually don't like to work out with my clients, and there's a couple reasons why. The first reason is if I'm also doing the workout, that means that I do not have my attention fully focused on you, right? Like I'm also going to be paying attention to myself. So if I'm sitting here and if I'm just watching the client, my attention is 100% on them. I'm also able to write down notes, change things in the workout, that sort of thing. And then I also like my clients to have a good understanding of how their body works. And I actually think that my clients can do that better if I don't show them the workout. And I know that sounds kind of funny, but you will develop a stronger connection with your body if you don't have the visual of watching me do the exercise. If you have to figure it out on your own, you're going to learn how your body works better and you're going to be more proficient at doing the exercise. Even if it feels kind of scary and you feel like you might do it wrong, you will be better if I don't actually show it to you first.
Yeah, that makes sense. And in a way, I wonder if that transfers over to horses and developing feel.
For sure. The more that I can develop somebody's feel on the ground and in the gym, the more feel they're going to have in the saddle and the more control and understanding they're going to have of their own body parts.
Are you looking for that extra competitive edge, struggling with show pin anxiety, or looking to set and achieve meaningful goals with your horse? Schedule a session with me, Lauren, your dedicated mindset coach. As an experienced competitor, I understand the mental demands required to excel at the highest level, and am here to support you in building a plan to help you stay accountable and reaching those goals. For more information, check out laurencervelli.com or click on the website link in our show notes. Let's work together to elevate your ride. You mentioned that at the beginning of each workout, you'll kind of check in with your clients and see how their week's been going, how their rides were. Sometimes when you've checked in with me, I've had to tell you, hey, my horse stepped on my foot, so we're going to have to make some adjustments, or I did something and we're going to have to make adjustments. What can you do to help people who have an injury?
So, as a personal trainer, I am not certified to help somebody with any sort of injury or any sort of active pain. Let's say that your horse just kind of stepped on your toe and you just don't feel like you should do any squats that day because your leg is kind of bothering you. Then, obviously, we're going to modify and maybe we'll do some more yoga type things. If somebody is sick, we usually don't lift weights. And part of that is because your cognitive function is not going to be 100% when you're sick. So you're not going to be able to focus on your form quite as well. You're more subject to injury that way. It's just not a good idea to work out when you're sick. And I have some clients that are okay with that, and some people are like, "No, I'm gonna push through unless I'm dying." So I kinda have to check people in and, give them a little bit of an ego check sometimes and say, "You know what? No, like, we're gonna do some yoga today, or we're just gonna foam roll." Or sometimes I even say, "You know what? We're not even gonna do anything today." I always tell people to push through uncomfortableness, but never to push through pain.
What are the first steps you recommend for someone looking to improve their fitness as an equestrian?
Definitely working out with a personal trainer. There is no substitute for having a coach to sit down and create an exercise program for you that is going to be progressive and is going to truly help you in your fitness. If you just go in blind, you might be able to get stronger and you might be able to improve your riding, but having a professional really sit down and look at you and your fitness and where you are currently and where you want to be and how you're going to get there and create a program that's going to progress you correctly. That is so important. So, it is expensive. I get that. But there are plenty of budget friendly options. So, for example, I offer workout plans that my clients complete on their own. So it's not a personal training call. I create a workout and they do it on their own, right? I don't charge very much for that. So I understand if, doing the personal training isn't an option for you, but I can still create a budget friendly plan for you that you go and you complete on your own, right? So something like that is going to be very important. And what you should focus on specifically is first, you really want to focus on if you have any muscle imbalances or weaknesses. So, like I mentioned earlier, like if you don't have good core stability, if you don't have good balance, those are the very first things that I'm going to pick on. People always want to go right to the weight training, but if you're not stable and if you're not mobile, the weight training is not going to help you the way that you think it's going to. You first have to focus on mobility and you have to focus on stability. So if you come to me and you don't have those pieces and you say, I want to be able to get stronger in the saddle, and I say, okay, we're going to have to do some mobility and stability stuff for a month first. A lot of people are like, "No, like, I don't wanna do that. I just wanna jump right into the strength training." And I say, "Well, that's not really an option. If you are not mobile and if you are not stable, the weight training is not going to help you." So that is the very first thing.
That makes a lot of sense. And speaking from experience, I did doubt a little bit of the first month of mobility only, but going through that and taking the time to do it made a huge difference. How often do you typically change your clients' personal training plans? And how do you know that they're ready for progression?
That's a great question. So, usually about every other week is a good place to start. Some people progress quickly and some people progress slowly. So, some people I do need to update every week. Some people I only update once a month. Some people, if they're not consistent with their workouts, there's no point in me updating the workout until they're consistent. And I might only update their program every other month. Like it really depends on the person and their goals and if they have anything going on in their personal life too, like let's say that you have something going on and you're just barely making it through your workouts. You don't have the energy, the mental energy to put into the workouts. I just want to focus on you getting consistent first. And then we can worry about, okay, maybe it's time to start upping the program a little bit. So it's really a personal thing. And then for how I know when somebody's ready for a progression, I talk to my clients a lot. I think I annoy some of them because I'm always asking, "How does this feel? How difficult is this on a scale 1 to 10? Do you think you're ready for more?" Like, I am talking to them every step of the way. I am asking what they are feeling, and their feedback is important for me deciding when it's time, but just watching people and seeing how they're struggling through their movements. How much people can talk back to me while they're working out is a huge indicator. So if you're able to carry a full on conversation with me while you're doing your set of squats, it's probably time to up the weight or something to make it more challenging for you. Versus if I ask you to go do that set of squats and you can't say a word because you are so focused and you have to be so focused, you might not be ready for that progression yet.
Absolutely. And how often do you change the exercises?
So when somebody comes to me and says they have a goal, we come up with a plan with exercises to get them to that goal. I will usually start with fairly basic exercises. And then as they get stronger and as they're ready for more progressions, I will progress those specific exercises instead of just giving a whole new plan. Your workouts will look very similar week to week. There will be progressions. For example, let's say that you've been doing, one set of 10 squats for 4 weeks and you're ready for a progression. I'm not just going to give you a whole new exercise. I'm going to make those squats slightly harder. So, ways that I can make it harder are, making you stand on an unstable surface, such as a balance pad or a Bosu ball, or I might give you a weight, or I might change your tempo. I might add in a balance piece where you do a squat and then a single leg balance. I'm going to do something to make that same exercise more challenging. There's a million different ways for me to progress an exercise. And I will always progress somebody through a simple exercise. And once I can see that they've mastered that exercise, that's when I'll change it out and give them something different.
Hey, Elevate Your Ride fans. Are you loving our show and looking for a way to show your support? Check out our line of Elevate Your Ride merchandise. From stylish t shirts to cozy hoodies to journals and hats, we have everything you need to represent your favorite podcast. Ready to gear up? Click on the Buy Our Merchandise Here link in the podcast notes, or head on over to our website, elevateyourride.co, and click on the Store tab. Thank you for your support. Make sure to like, follow, and share our platform with your friends. How long is your typical training session with your clients?
So I offer personal training sessions for either 30 or 60 minutes. So for my clients who are opting for the 30-minute session, they are doing a warm up and usually a cool down before and after I call them. So they're still getting in close to an hour workout, but they're only doing 30 minutes of that workout with me. And that's kind of one of the budget friendly options that I offer for my clients. And it also lets me see more clients in a day. So I implemented the 30-minute sessions into my program probably a little over a year ago, and I found that they're really successful. I used to only do 60 minutes, and then I kind of restructured how I do business, and I've really been enjoying it. It lets people warm up, and then by the time I've called them, they're in the mode, ready for exercise. We only have 30 minutes, so it gives us a little bit more of a sense of urgency, a little bit more motivation to get through the workout quicker. When we have an hour, I notice that people tend to be a little bit more chatty and a little less motivated to get through their workout in a timely manner. So I actually really enjoy doing the 30-minute sessions. For some people, doing a 30-minute workout is their only option. They don't have an hour to work out. So, we can get a workout in for 30 minutes. I do have some clients that only work out for 30 minutes. They don't do anything on their own. And they do still see results. I think it's better if you can get in closer to 45 minutes to an hour, right? But that's not realistic for a lot of people.
How many days a week do you like your clients to work out for?
I think the sweet spot is 3 to 4 times a week. 2 is good, it's better than nothing, but it's not quite enough. 5 is great, but I mean, I don't know that I have any clients that work out 5 days a week. Do you work out 5 days a week?
Do upper, lower, full body, mobility, and my own cardio.
Okay, so you do
So
work out 5 times a week. You might be my only client who actually works out 5 times a week. Most people are in that 3 to 4 sweet spot. I usually only make it to the gym 3 or 4 times a week. You're gonna see results. You're not gonna feel overloaded by the training program. It's not gonna be too much. You still get to look forward to your exercises. I really think that 3 to 4 is the perfect number. So I like to focus on what's called a split with all my clients. So if somebody comes to me and says they want to work on their strength and they're already mobile and they're already stable, right? We're just working on strength. Then with that 3 times a week, we can hit every body part twice because we can do an upper body day, a lower body day, and a full body day. And that is ideal for building strength. You want to be working on building your muscle groups twice a week. So 4 times a week is great because then you can just do, an upper body, a lower body, an upper body, a lower body. But even with that 3 times a week, because we can add in a full body workout, you can still hit all your muscle groups twice a week. So that's why I say that 3 to 4 is the sweet spot. Because when you're doing 2 workouts a week, you could do 2 full body workouts a week, right? I do have some clients that do that, and that's great, but you're not able to focus on upper body and then lower body. You're always focusing on both, and that can be hard, especially if you're only doing 30-minute workouts. It can be tough to get enough exercises in. And then if you're working out 5 times a week, then you would probably do like an upper body, a lower body, an upper body, a lower body, and then either like a recovery day or you could do full body and then you're hitting everything 3 times a week and that's great. So it really just depends on the person and their schedule.
so what services do you offer?
So I offer the personal training. I do offer in-person training if you're local to Oregon, but I mainly work virtually with my clients. So that's mainly doing the FaceTime calls. And then I also offer the workout plans. So the workout plan is a workout that I create for you that you do on your own. Most of my clients choose to do a combination of both. They do a little bit of personal training and then they also work out on their own. That is the best bang for your buck. Most of my clients, I would say, see me about once a week and then they're working out on their own a couple times a week. And then I do also offer horse yoga. So if you're local to Oregon or if you ever see me at a horse show, I can teach you yoga on the back of your horse.
That sounds like so much fun. What inspired you to start that?
So when I very first started my business, it was actually really cool. The barn where my trainer is, we actually turned a portion of the barn into a gym. So I had this little area where I could work with my in-person clients and it was really cool. And people started asking me, they're like, "Yeah, like this is super fun, but like, can you offer something on my horse?" And I was like, What? Like on your horse?" And they're like, "Yeah, like can we do some stretches on my horse?" And I'm like, "Huh, like I guess we could do that." So, with my clients that I worked with at the gym at our barn, we started incorporating and doing some things on their horses. Sometimes I'd put them on a lunge line and I'd have them do a couple different exercises that they were familiar with in the gym. And then eventually everybody kind of got interested in it. And we actually started doing horse yoga classes weekly at the barn. So before our group ride, we'd all huddle up in a circle and I'd stand in the middle and I would teach a horse yoga class. And it's super fun. It's a great way to connect with your horse on a personal level. When we're on our horses, we're constantly asking them for something, right? So the horse yoga actually provides an environment where the rider is doing something to benefit their riding, but it's not actually asking the horse to do anything. So the horse can just sit there and they can hang out and they can do whatever they want, and their mom's not picking at them, their mom's not asking anything of them. They literally just have to stand there. And the horses, I think, enjoy the horse yoga more than the people do because their moms are chatting and laughing and having a good time and they're relaxed. And horse doesn't have to do anything. So it's great for maybe some selects who are maybe a little nervous in the saddle or who maybe pick on their horse all the time. It's a great environment for people to just relax and have fun with their horse.
Absolutely, it sounds like it. I know what we're gonna be doing at the next horse show we're at together.
Yeah, sun circuit. You'll see Lauren and I doing some horse yoga in the corner.
Boy, I better work on my mobility before I get there.
If you ever see me at a horse show, come find me and we'll do a horse yoga session.
Absolutely, it'll be a blast. We'll get everybody together, and it'll be really fun.
Okay, how fun would that be? At Sun Circuit, everybody come and let's do horse yoga.
Yeah, we'd love to meet you all, so let's do it.
Yeah, we'll have a meet elevate your ride.
Perfect. Check the Facebook group, and we'll get everything lined out there. Thank you for listening to Elevate Your Ride. Find us on Instagram and Facebook, all linked in the podcast notes. We'll see you next time. The information provided by Elevate Your Ride is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as medical or professional advice. While we discuss health and fitness topics related to equestrians, the content provided through this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. The views expressed by the host and guests on Elevate Your Ride are their own and should not be taken as professional guidance. We strive to provide accurate and up to date information, but we cannot guarantee that the information will be applicable to every individual listener or that it reflects the most current research or guidelines. Before making any changes to your health and fitness routine, we strongly recommend consulting with a qualified professional who can provide personalized advice based on your individual needs and circumstances. Elevate Your Ride and its creators will not be liable for any direct, indirect, consequential, special, exemplary, or other damages arising from the use of information on this podcast. Thank you for listening to Elevate Your Ride. We are committed to providing high quality content and appreciate your trust in us as a source of information for your health and fitness journey.